What's up, troopers? We're back. It's the Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Evan Paul. That's Mike Berry over there. How's it going, Mike?
Well, Evan?
Yeah?
There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. I want to... Well, okay, first of all, I do want to thank our patrons and sponsors. So thank you to all the patrons out there. Mike was just talking about how we've noticed a lot of new subscribers on YouTube, which we are very, very thankful for.
Yeah.
If you're a podcast-only person, it does help us out. Even if you're not like a YouTube person, like it's gonna stay on the podcast feed, so don't worry about that. But YouTube subscription does help us out, because what we're trying to do is we just want more people to see our stuff. That is the level of arrogance that we're at, Mike.
What Evan is trying to say, everyone, is like and subscribe.
I did not say that. Mike said that. I'll never be one of those people. I'm not. What is the content creator is bad enough, but then there's the I word. That makes me feel really gross when my local friends make fun of me for that. But yes, hashtag like and subscribe. Woo! So yeah, we just do this because we like doing it, and we hope that people can see it and learn from it. Sometimes you can learn from this podcast. You can definitely learn from our sister video series, which is the TFT minis, which is meant for the learning.
Just
and
maybe less entertainment and more NPR PBS vibes.
Yeah, the entertainment comes from when I say what I expect for Mike to say, and then Mike says, no, actually, I think the opposite thing. Yeah, and then I go, oh, well, okay, we'll go ahead. But we do also want to thank our sponsors. We have Legion Terrain and Game Toppers. Thank you very much. There's some links that you should check out on the YouTube page. Also, shout out to one of our random patrons, Lewis Marty. Thank you for supporting us. For the patrons, on weeks where there's a little bit less news to cover, you may have noticed that we do some list reviews. So patrons can submit that, and then we can review it either live or via DM if there's just not going to be enough chance to get it in live. Also, you see the lovely pieces of Legion art, objects d'art, as they say in France. I know that they don't say it that way, but if you want to show off your painted minis to an ever expanding audience, then all you have to do is be a patron and be on our Discord. So lots of good reasons, and we're actually in the next couple of weeks we're going to be recording a patron only podcast where we're going to be ranking the likelihood that you would be totally dead if an Andor character was hunting you. This was like a dumb idea that I had, just based off the fact that Andor has so many good characters, and that so many of them are just very scary people when you get down to it. And then many of them are not scary people, and so we're gonna be ranking them. And I had the help of Mike and Timbo were helping me out, coming up with some good category names. So I'm excited to do that. That'll be Patreon-only content for at least the first few months. Yeah. So anyway, we appreciate everybody signing up, but it will always be available to you for the freebies. Let's talk about some news, Mike. There's a lot of news.
Almost too much to talk about.
Almost too much. And apologies to our Shadow Collective fans. We're going to be delaying you yet another week.
I'm not sorry.
Too much news came out. But what was funny is that you stopped the train at the end of the last episode to say whoa, we got points on Han and Luke. And so we spent some time talking about their points, and then 2 hours after we finished recording, their command cards came out. So I guess let's just talk about that first. And then we'll have a little thing in the middle where we talk about some grand tournament prizes, and a reveal that came from that, in a sense. And then we're going to end with the gigantic reveals of the Imperial High Command pack, where it was not only command cards, but also one unit card that we hadn't seen, and even an upgrade card that we didn't know was coming. So, but let's get to Han and Luke, where for them, we did know everything about their unit cards going into this week, but now we have been shown that there are 3 command cards that are going to come in the pack, and it's basically
the command cards probably don't matter. We don't need to talk about them.
Well, yeah. So as a reminder, we will show the main unit cards for Han and Luke on the screen on the YouTube page. But as a reminder, Luke is 110 and Han is 90. So just keep that in your heads as we talk about all this stuff.
And
but
I do want to just as we're talking about that, both of these units,
yes,
are cheaper than their current iterations of what's in the game.
That is accurate.
I just want to set that bound right now. Let's keep going.
Sure. We're going to start with Han Solo's 1 pip. See you in hell, which is relevant to the statement that Michael just made. Permanent. Han Solo gains unconcerned and unstoppable. I should mention that this is specific to his Tauntaun version, because it is at the bottom of the card is Han Solo, reluctant hero. So I just want to mention that this is not similar. This is not the same as the General Grievous situation, at least for this card, where it is applicable to all versions of the character. Permanent. Han Solo gains unconcerned and unstoppable. During the round in which this card was played, Han Solo gains disengage and gains 1 aim token, 1 dodge token, and cannot be suppressed or panicked. My goodness, Michael. Where do we even start? A brief reminder about keywords. So unconcerned is the one that is the quote-unquote bad keyword, because that's the one where you can't gain cover ever, right? And even though it's not that bad a keyword in the grand scheme of things for this situation, but it's at least worth mentioning that there is a tiny drawback to this.
Sure.
Unstoppable is the Dark Trooper keyword that allows him to activate twice. This enables all sorts of shenaniganry. It does mean that if this is played round 1, that a rebel list could start with the pass token shenaniganry right off. Or actually, when do you gather the pass tokens? Would it be before? Yeah, actually, it wouldn't matter, because you would have the pass tokens, but you're going to have one guy that activates twice. So if you do it round 1, then you're going to be able to take advantage of that.
Correct.
And so I guess the first question would be, how crazy is this, Mike?
Okay. Well, I'm going to try and leave my hyperbolic statements at home for a minute.
Oh, okay.
For a minute.
That's not what people come here for, but
I know,
anyway.
I know. Let's just break down what this card actually does So you obviously activate twice, you get the Dark Trooper thing. I think what is a little bit not apparent of this card is that if you play this card on turn 1, it is still like playing standing orders as far as command card timing goes.
Yeah.
In that you will still get to go. You'll still retain your position and probably get to go last, right?
Yes.
Because of the Dark Trooper pass thing.
Yes.
So while this is a 1 pip, and while you will activate a unit first on turn 1, you are not giving up the benefit of playing standing orders, which is getting the opportunity to go last, probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Depending, I guess there's a world where your opponent's playing double Dark Troopers, and maybe that isn't true, but
right.
In most scenarios, that is what's going to happen. Additionally, this card allows Han Solo to effectively play Implacable. Plus, because he gets 2 actions on a second activation every turn, while also playing other command cards. Which, since he's Han Solo, means that he has a bunch of other good ones, like Change of Plans and Sorry About the Mess, which makes him always go first. Like, it's not like Han's command cards are bad. And they just got a lot better.
Yep.
So, do you always play this on turn 1? I don't know.
Depends on your list.
I think it depends
there
on
could be lists where you need order control on round 1. Maybe
it is.
Yeah.
I think that if you do want to play this on turn 1, you probably want at least 1 copy, if not 2 copies of improvised orders.
Yeah.
So that you can kick back Han's token that is in the bag as many times as possible. But you know, the during this round in which the card was played, disengage, aim, dodge, can't be suppressed and panicked, is definitely good. I'm not sure like how much that matters. Like, is that stronger than already having unstoppable and being able to like change the plans your opponent on turn 2 when they're trying to stop you from doing anything? I also think that it's very important that we understand what unstoppable actually does for this version of Han. So, I was talking to a few people about it. Han's charge range on turn 1, assuming that he plays this card, is roughly 36 inches.
Yeah.
For those of you that are tracking on the math of Star Wars Legion, that means as long as your opponent is in their deployment zone, you can likely charge them with Han on turn 1.
Because you're doing 4
speed
up to 3 moves if you're spurring.
And in those
with a base that's larger. Yeah.
And your opponent cannot suppress you or panic you for your second activation. So it's just like unless they kill Han, that's just gonna happen. Like if the Han player wants it to. Han literally can charge anything on the table, barring like some weird, like, I move out of my deployment zone into the corner of the board jank.
Yeah. There's a reason why Dark Troopers were given plotting as a keyword, Michael.
And they were on a cavalry unit.
And that yeah. It's because activating twice is really good in and of itself. But is Han is now the fast, like Han is per round now the fastest unit in the game, I think.
Yes, this is like he gets 2 compulsory moves a turn, basically.
Right.
Assuming you get to activate him twice. And that also assumes that you're triggering charge instead of shooting his gun.
Yeah. I think that this is faster than a bus with Astromech. Like if it moves 3 times. Like I know that like obviously that goes very, very far. But I think that this is faster than that.
That might be true. I'd have to look at the bus math. I don't have that off the cuff.
But in any case, like
the bus ain't charging you and deleting a unit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is crazy because with any charge attack, you're talking about 1 red, 2 white, 3 black. So it's with Pierce 1 and Ram 1 and Search to Crit.
It is 28 over 8 before Ram, so it's 3.5 plus 1. So it's 4.5 hits Pierce 1.
Yeah. So like, unless you have any tech, like you could very easily be in the zone of just taking 4 wounds on like whatever, if it's not immune pierce and if it's doesn't have armor, like, you know, there's some variables, but you think about, and also that because you have order control on Han, like he's going to have a face up order, is that he can be the last thing that you activate.
Yeah, and if you charge them the turn he plays this card, it's probably closer to 5.2 Pierce 1 because he's got name token too.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's a situation where, like, moving a naked core into someplace safe to be, to be holding a point or whatever, like when you sort of know where most of your opponent's stuff is, like that is, even against the most alpha lists out there, you think of like my list or a list that's running Bad Batch with Scouting Party, even those situations have limitations in terms of like how far those things can actually go and how deep they can get behind your lines and kill a guy. But Han he can just do it. And you can even put recon intel on him if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure it's necessary.
Yeah, it's probably not necessary. Like, because what's funny is that it still does feel a little bit necessary for Grievous, even though you could also argue that it's not necessary for Wheelbite Grievous. But it's nice to have that flexibility. But Han moves faster than he does, significantly.
I haven't had this come up, and I haven't like looked at it. Can you spur a recon intel move? I don't think there's a unit in the game that could presently do that. Like that has scout and also has spur.
All right, we're gonna do some live fact checking here. So, spur is when it performs a move.
Yeah.
It can increase the maximum speed of that move, and then what Scout does is that because Scout gives a speed X move action.
Sure.
And so improving the maximum speed wouldn't change what that speed X move action is.
Okay.
Because like maximum speed only matters when you're like
using your own
choosing. Sure. Yeah, exactly.
We'll see.
So
that's a question that'll be on the. That'll be.
I'm sure it'll be on there. I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't work because Scout is sort of like Force Push or Dooku's thing, where it's like you use a speed 2 move or you use a speed 1 move.
Sure.
So yeah, like this seems ridiculous, Mike. It seems ridiculous, and we do try to protect. We do try to be a little bit careful when we say that. I think, like, we said this about Aqua Droids, and we were right.
There are times we've been wrong. I think.
I think the time this podcast was maybe most wrong was when it was about the Inquisitorious training. But
yeah, it turned out the Inquisitors. I mean, I still stand by. I still stand by that Inquisitorious training shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah,
it's just that the things that it goes on are absolute hot garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wouldn't matter now because nobody plays Jedi with Force powers that matter, so it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant. But
we were certainly correct about Cassian, as anybody could have told you.
I think.
Yeah, we're not here keeping score for ourselves, but I think that this actually could be like in the NPE zone, especially for newer players.
This card frustrates me.
Yeah.
This unit and card combination frustrates me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
In that, and I don't want to get too salty here, but I feel like this is just like General Grievous all over again. I think he's way more killable.
Oh, that's for sure. We haven't talked about that yet. Yeah.
But this unit is insane.
It's 90 points.
It's 90 points. That's cheaper than I just like. I'm looking at 90 points. What is 90?
Brother.
What does 90 points buy you in other factions? It buys you Rex. It buys you. You have to pay more than that for Rex and Cody. Like,
It buys you a super tactical with a couple of Technoforce upgrades, so it seems like roughly on par with that.
I actually think that makes it's not close. It's like way better than that, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm joking about that.
I sort of. I think I also think that like
gets your range troopers.
Which he one shots most of the time.
Gets you some ARF troopers with a duo.
This is a 90-point unit that throws a 4.5 average hit Pierce 1 pool twice a turn.
into melee where it would be safe if
and
the unit's
always
not
gets
dead.
rammed because he's a creature trooper, right?
Yeah.
He also has a suite of command cards that actually like make him dying in melee like pretty hard to accomplish once he's in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if your opponent places you in Hell turn 1 and actually charges your lines, okay, so what are you gonna do? Are you gonna play a command card to get out of it? Well, he's got change of plans.
Yep.
That's a problem. Are you going to disengage with him? Well, he's also got Reckless Diversion. He could just play Reckless Diversion, you disengage, they go with Han, and now you can't shoot Han.
Are you going to play a 1-pip with your Jedi to just like get in and kill him? He is going to play Sorry About the Mess.
He's got Sorry About the Mess,
Yeah.
right? So like,
boom.
And not only that, but
Yeah.
the other command cards that we're going to talk about, like there are free moves attached to, the other command cards.
Yep.
So like even if
he can move into melee with that if he's stuck out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like all of them, you know, unless he's in melee with Anakin,
right?
You know, he's pretty safe.
A C tier character. Controversial.
You know, I mean, maybe this is a reason to just take Anakin, right? Because he just like instant deletes Han. But still, you're paying 170 points to kill a 90-point unit. You know, like this. I have a really hard time in my head, like negotiating the play space where the like customizable Jedis are more expensive than this guy. You know, like it's just something that doesn't compute here.
Yeah.
He even makes the new Luke look bad, and I think new Luke is really good. And yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't want to be hyperbolic about it. I guess the thing that frustrates me, I think, is that we're gonna have like a points update that probably addresses General Grievous and the CIS shenanigans.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure either, but like hopefully it does.
CIS shenanigans in general maybe, but I think Grievous is still too new to be touched.
You know,
based on what they've done before.
And it just feels like we're like entering like a cycle of like revolving door, like crazy nutty releases that are just, and as I think for me as a competitive player, that I find that very frustrating, just wanting to like it's just like it's not fun to play against Grievous. It's not going to be fun to play against Han. You know, I think that Han might actually be a significant NPE zone for a lot of players. Like, and I think that Grievous is also in that zone, but I think Han is actually more easily exploitable to create negative play experiences for opponents than even Wheelback Grievous is. I'm not sure I agree there. I think the thing that is frustrating about Grievous is that he's literally on it. He's very difficult to kill against somebody that knows
the Jedi Arts round with up close and personal is very frustrating.
I think that's what puts him over the top.
Yeah,
and I think Han doesn't really have that. Like he's still a creature trooper, so like making it so that like a Jedi can't melee you is still pretty hard. Like you know.
But Jedi are generally less good in the game right now because of the preponderance of vehicles out there, and the
fact that Force Push sucks.
And the Force Push is too expensive. 40 points, so reset the clock.
I just want to be clear: Force Push is half this unit.
Yeah. And yeah, it was. I think I forget whether it was in like our little. Our little toxic group chat now that Kyle's playing again is that, you know, Kyle was added to the toxic group chat that we have between us and Brian Bear. I forget whether it was that or whether it was on the main Legion Discord where Kyle was like, yeah, you know, Force Push is just bad now. I don't know. If anybody who's disagreeing with that, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And I was like, the man speaks. Yeah, so this card's crazy. We do need to move on, but
we do.
Oh man, the only saving grace is that if Han is shootable, then he can go down pretty fast. But as you mentioned, there are ways to at least delay that situation in a similar way to that Grievous can delay the situation.
Yeah.
And then, but so like Han will die, but then how many guys has he taken with him by the time he does? And that was literally 90 points of investment in your army.
He's almost certainly done 90 points worth of damage.
Yeah.
By the time you're able to kill him. And generally the only window you're probably going to have to shoot him is the activation before he makes his charge. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's your window. And I hope your rebel opponent did get advanced intel. Otherwise, you probably might not even get that, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Oof.
And he's still got uncanny luck and stuff too. So
yeah.
Killing him is still hard.
All right. We're gonna move on now. So the second command is the Luke only command. This is on patrol. So he does order somebody in addition to himself. So there's Luke Skywalker and one trooper unit. And here I have to mention something that I'm going to rant about. Like for very good reasons, you can go on some gameplay rants. And whereas I go on rants about the English language and the way that this game forces us to use it.
Sure.
Mike, the subtitle for Tauntaun Luke, the subtitle is Commander Skywalker.
Okay.
The subtitle for Commander Skywalker on foot is Hero of the Rebellion.
Yep.
If you're a new player and you get this pack and you see this card on patrol and you're like, cool, Luke Skywalker, Commander Skywalker can use this card. Well, that is true, but not the one that came in the starter set, my friend, because that is Luke Skywalker, Hero of the Rebellion, and just like with Han, because the subtitle's in there, it does limit it to that specific character. So that's an oopsie. I'm not a fan of that. This is just like the fact that the word Guardian is just used way too many times in the context of Republic Jedi in one way or the other, and then it starts to get confusing after a while. But anyway, I digress. So Luke Skywalker and one trooper unit. Go ahead, Mike.
I would like to just fight back a little bit. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
If that was the case, wouldn't this just say Luke Skywalker on it? Like if both Lukes could use this, it would just say Luke
Skywalker on it.
Right.
Right. But like the fact that they should have picked a different subtitle is what I'm saying. It should have been Luke Skywalker.
I agree.
Feeling chilly. Luke Skywalker is about to lose a hand.
Inside the beast I'm riding.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker's final moments as a bi-handed individual. Or no, sorry, that happened later in the movie. He didn't lose his hand yet. Luke Skywalker's final movements before he has a nasty scar on his cheek from the Wampa slashing him. I'm forgetting my timeline here, but so Luke Skywalker 1 trooper unit 2 pip. When a unit is issued an order with this card, it may make a speed 1 move and make a free action observe 4. ARF troopers, take note. Your observation sucks. Anyway, additionally, when an enemy unit ends its activation within range 2 of an allied creature trooper unit this round, so that's any allied creature trooper unit, the allied unit may gain a dodge token. So it's sort of like, you getting close to me, I'm taking a dodge. So it's like a nice little bonus.
It's into the fray, but for dodge tokens,
right.
Yeah.
So it's better than into the fray because when it ends an activation within 2, it doesn't have to start within 2.
Oh well, I would say that it's worse because into the fray allows you to use it against the thing that is presently activating.
Oh, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. Because, if they move into you and then shoot you, then the activation's not over.
Yeah.
For a second, it read to me like it ends its movement, but it ends its activation.
Yeah.
That is less good. So getting 8 observation tokens right off the bat and then doing a speed 1 move, that would have been enough. That the second part of this is sort of it's a cool thing that your Tauntauns will maybe get some extra dodges that round that may or may not be relevant. But this is No Time for Sorrows plus Observe 8.
Leia would like a word.
Yeah, and yeah, once again, this is like it feels really cliched to like even say the words power creep. We actually avoid using those words because I think it is normally a cliche thing. But yeah, when you compare this to No Time for Sorrows, it's just like stupid, right? I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good card.
Yeah.
I, you know, I'm not
This one is
sure.
not game breaking the way See You in Hell is, but it is like it's a very solid command, and I think my annoyance is just that it's No Time plus so much that it seems wild.
Well, I think that again, let's break it down, right?
Sure,
Let's break it down.
break it down.
This is actually like not that far off tactical download for like a couple units.
Okay, but if that's the point of comparison,
well, I just
Yeah.
from like what it does, right? Like
yeah,
you're giving 2 units observe 4. That's a total of observe 8. That's the
Yep.
equivalent of 4 aim tokens
right.
for those counting. That's how many
Yep.
you get on tactical download, right? I don't think it's unreasonable for you to get somewhere between 2 and 6 dodge tokens off the
Yeah,
bottom effect.
that's a good point. This
you know-
is sort of tactical download for rebels.
Plus
Movements.
You get No Time
Yeah.
for Sorrows, right?
Yeah,
So
Yikes.
I think the tokens are a little bit more limited, right?
Yeah.
They're not like global use. And observe makes it so that you have to paint your targets, right?
but if you know what you're shooting at, it's better than an aim.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
And it's better than 4 aims, you might say.
yeah.
And so the observes are potentially better than the aim tokens, which is the part of tactical download that probably means the most. It's part of the it's is this card better than Luminous? Could be.
Could be. Yeah,
Right?
it could
You
be.
know?
All units is very good for what it's worth.
It is.
Yeah.
Though the aim tokens here or the observe tokens here are basically all units get to use it. Right?
True. Fair.
You're talking about the orders. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, like face-up orders, I mean.
That is certainly the reason Luminous is good now, right?
Right.
But as far as like cards that hand out a bunch of tokens to your stuff, this is like still
This is really good.
it's still pretty good. It's
Yeah.
also most cards that hand out that many tokens to global kind of global effects that allow like kind of anybody to use them are 3 pips. This is a 2 pip, so it's actually quite faster. So if your opponent is playing their, load up your tokens card, this you actually get to shoot them first.
Yeah.
Which is not nothing, and you also get to potentially make something safe with your speed 1s or put it in an aggressive situation. I'm imagining you do this with Sleeper Cell.
Yep.
Sleeper Cell gets a speed 1 move, observe 4, and then just annihilates something.
Yeah. It seems good.
Seems good.
So let's talk about the third command, not out of it yet. So this is Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. And this funnily enough is not limited by keywords. And so if you have any lists, I believe the way this works is that you would need to have both of them.
So, fun fact, I did a little research before the cast on this. This is the first command card, I believe. I will accept the corrections if I'm wrong about this.
Sure.
That requires 2 heroes to be alive to play.
And then also because aggressive tactics doesn't exist anymore, I don't know if there's any game effects that care about the nominated commander, but would both of them be the nominated commander in this situation?
I have no idea. I think if we were doing the OG like templating, this command card essentially has pictures of Han and Luke in the top right.
But funny enough, again, this one can be any Han and any Luke.
Yes.
So whenever that mercenary version of Han Solo comes out later this year or next year or whatever it is that, he would be able to participate in this card. And then with Luke, this is one that the Hero of the Rebellion can use, or that Op Luke could use, as long as you have Han Solo in there. And so we'll say what it does. So it orders Han and Luke. They each make a speed 1 move, so this is more opportunities for the new Han to hide if he needed to.
Yep.
And then this round, when Luke Skywalker begins his activation within range 2 of Han, he gains 1 aim and 1 dodge. And then the reverse is also true for Han activating within range 2 of Luke. And so worth mentioning with that because if you're a list that also had Chewie in it and if Chewie was nearby, then when those tokens are gained, that, when Han gains the tokens, Chewie would be able to gain them too. So there can be all sorts of token shenaniganry. Generally, this is good because of the speed 1 move. The tokens are, like it's good to get tokens. I'm not positive how often this would actually get played because you definitely have change of plans. And then for, I guess, like Luke's 3 pips are not that great, so maybe you would play this instead of any of those. Or no, yeah, because he can't play I Am a Jedi. If it's Tauntaun Luke anyway. Yeah, I don't know. This one seems like sort of more normal command to me.
Yeah, I think this card might be bad.
Normal means bad to us, Mike.
Well, so I think there are in that I think that you've pointed out that, like, I think the other 3-pip options are generically kind of, I think, better-ish.
Yeah.
Change of plan's definitely better. Luke's 3-pip, worth shouting out here that I think this is one of very few cards that gives operative Luke free moves.
True.
Is that a big deal? Probably not, because new Luke is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing for me is that this card is kind of only good once you've engaged already.
Yeah.
And I think the odds that you can make sure that they're both still alive for an extended duration of time, and A, in New Legion, and B, with them in the thick of melee, is like, it's not like a very safe thing, I think.
Yeah.
So like, if they kill one of your dudes, like, this card is just dead. I think that's how it works. Unless they form ruling it or say, hey, you only need one of these guys to be alive to play this.
That would be really tough, actually. To just know that if you couldn't play it, if one of them dies.
That's the thing. Like, and I'm pretty sure that's the case because, like,
I think so.
The new Jedi Knight cards that are like, it's like Jedi Knight General or Jedi Knight, and like or is a pretty big indicator, and this says and, right? It should say Han or Luke Skywalker if that was the case. So I think this requires both of them to be alive, at least rules as written.
I think you're right.
So I think that's a big drawback.
Yeah,
in a game where things die a lot.
Things die in this game.
Yeah.
News at 11. I did also fail to mention, as far as 3 pips go, that if you're running an Echo based list, then you probably have hold on any cost in that list instead of not out of it yet, just because of the potential to be slamming on some standby tokens. But so yeah, I generally think this one's probably going to be left at home most often, except in certain situations where it might make sense. But hey, those other 2 commands are pretty good. And I guess, like, to sort of wrap up the prolonged discussion about Luke and Han that's been now happening over like weeks.
Yep.
It's interesting to me that there wasn't a upgrade that generically makes Tons better in this pack, which I thought might have been a thing that would happen. Because, like, yet again, both of these guys are more impressive than the regular Tauntauns.
The 2 pips on patrol, I think.
On patrol is a bonus to them, for sure.
And it's worth noting that, like, one enemy unit ending its activation could result in, like, 4 dodge tokens.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
right. Fair. Is that good enough to make Tons good? Probably not. I mean, like, maybe. If you're playing Tons, you're almost certainly playing this card.
Yeah,
I think
that
it's probably a thing that should be said. Is it, and again, like, a tactical download card for Tauntauns? Like, if we think about it that way, is that I mean, obviously, it's just aims if you're not playing tauntauns.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Could be enough to keep them alive just long enough to, you know, keep the train rolling.
Yeah.
I suspect that these characters are probably just going to be at their best in a normal rebel list.
Probably. It's worth mentioning that Luke, Han, and Fortons is 580 for 6 activations. And then if you like piled in like three naked veterans and 3 Mark IIs, then you're at 12 already. And then I mean, like, hell, why not just like make a few more? 2 more veterans, 2 more Mark IIs. So yeah, maybe like take one away. So you can be at, with 20 points to spare, you can be at 15 acts with 5 naked vets, 4 Mark IIs, and then like 4 tons, Han and Luke on tons. And I'm sure that there's like better ways to squeeze it out of it, but the veterans are the weak point in that sort of a situation. And so like if the tons go down, I feel like you're sort of running out of juice, but it still doesn't seem half bad. And then, Han's activating as the 15th and 16th activations in that list.
I mean, realistically, Han and to a lesser degree Luke are like, I don't want to beat this drum too hard, but they're very much like going to be like Wheelback Grievous in that even if nothing else in your list does damage, you can still kill your opponent with those 2 units.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about if Han and Luke are both meleeing, your opponent 3 times a turn, we're looking at what 13 Pierce 4.
Yeah. Whew.
That's the average.
Yeah.
That doesn't include like extra aims or command cards or whatever. That's just natty. That does not include giving them things like tenacity could be pretty good on Han. He's pretty likely, I think, to take a wound at some point. Doesn't include like into the fray on Luke, which again seems good. I see a world where you are putting a comms jammer on Han for sure. Yeah.
God, that's so mean.
If he's charging turn 1, comms jammer seems excellent.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
And apparently these guys are like one of the first heroes ever to get comms upgrade slots. So,
oh, by the way, we didn't even mention that Han does have he does have a training upgrade, which means he can have tenacity, which means you're adding 2 red dice per
every
round,
turn, right?
Every round.
So it takes his average from 4.5 Pierce 1 to probably 5.5 Pierce 1. And again,
Lord.
That's assuming that he's not getting an independent aim, which he probably isn't. You're probably giving him an order.
Yeah.
But like, he gets aims from Sorry About the Mess. He gets observed tokens from On Patrol. On Patrol keeps these 2 alive. Probably. It's extra dodge tokens and stuff.
Probably put stims on him, honestly.
I think stims on Han. I think it's one of those things where I don't know what Han is like actually worth. It's definitely not 90. I don't know what the number is. It's not 90. But like I don't know how much you want to bloat him. He's probably worth bloating a little bit because he is just that good. Definitely in the like keep him alive as long as possible situation. I think stims is an end of activation check, right?
Yeah.
So it unfortunately won't let you like unstoppable if he ends up dying. But I mean, it's worth noting that like you go once with Han and they still have to like try and kill him because he's gonna go again.
Yep. Good Lord.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I
I
don't
think
know.
if this is how much, mounted heroes are going to cost, I think everybody that walks needs to go down like 30 points.
Yeah. Yeah, but what's funny is that like now Rebel players would legitimately be able to go out there and be like, man, walking Han is so bad compared to Tauntaun Han.
I mean, walking Han
He
was
needs to get
already
cheaper.
like he was like fine. Like I wouldn't. He
Yeah.
wasn't like he was fine to good. He'd
Yeah.
play it playable, but like not oppressive. Um,
Cheers to the Commander Luke haters, like the walking Commander Luke haters out there though, because now they have infinite ammunition to like, and we already did sort of hate on walking Commander Luke, so
I did some math
yeah,
real quick.
yeah.
So new Luke,
Mm-hmm.
who defensively is basically old Luke.
Right.
Um, New Luke's profile on the Tauntaun is roughly 4 Pierce 2, assuming you're spending the aim for lethal. Old Luke in melee is 3.5 Pierce 1.
And is 10 points more.
And like there's really not much. And Luke gets a free dodge token from Take Cover 1.
Yep.
And he's got relentless instead of charge, which means that he can shoot his blaster.
He has
just
better
off the
burst of
cuff.
speed all the time.
Yes, and he loses a courage, obviously, which is not nothing.
It's not nothing. It's also not really something.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit. I could see you running into the Grievous problem. With Luke specifically.
Right.
Specifically, if you're using Spur, like, you're going to have extra suppression tokens. Sometimes you're going to be able to just shoot these guys and suppress them, right?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be less true for Han because Han is just going to be in melee. And the turn it matters, he's not going to be suppressible. But Luke does not. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
We will see. We will see. So I think this is actually going to key into the general balance concerns you had about sort of everybody waiting for their next broken release. And this, spoiler alert, this is going to be related to how that could actually be very problematic if, during one cycle, there's one or two factions where the releases are like sort of middling and that they miss out on the chance to get like a new broken unit that will make things feel good again. But before we do that, the 2026 Grand Tournament and Prize Wall kits were revealed. So we're getting some sort of like new marbling of dice. That really, it's sort of hard to tell from this picture what they actually look like, to be honest with you. But dice are dice. Dice are cool.
Cool swaggy dice. I'm about it.
Yeah. There's a new game board that's purple. That I really like the visual theme of that one. So that's something that you would get it if you win a GT, or you can buy it off the prize wall. We have some acrylic suppression and wound tokens, which is a cool thing. And then we have our first, I think this is our first like acrylic range. I think is it a half range and a 1.5 range?
I think it is a 1.5 range ruler.
Yeah.
Which actually is, I think, an interesting thing in the box. The 1.5 range ruler specifically, because right now, I think if you were to like get super rules lawyery,
there's a lot of people using fake ones right now.
Well, not only are they fake, but like you can't even, I think, technically put a half range ruler and a normal range ruler down on the table at the same time. Technically, I'm not saying that like we don't all do it.
Well, outside of deployment, there's not a gameplay reason why you would need 1.5.
Sure, that's a speed 1 move into contested range. Of course you do.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I mean to say is that there wouldn't be a gameplay reason why it would be required.
There's no gameplay reason for required, but like for ease of play, it's definitely like a thing that is really. I think
try to only use the
interesting.
1.5 for deployment. like, because everybody had. I feel like a lot of people have the 3D printed ones that just like get passed around, and I try to only use it for deployment because I actually do feel weird about the idea of using that in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is interesting. So, like, maybe you can get like a little bit of a technical advantage because it's official FF or AMG stuff.
I have never seen anyone call like a judge on something
No,
like that.
I haven't either.
And like, the 3D printed ones like slot into the normal range rulers. A lot of them do.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, people just like put them on the end.
I definitely would not call a judge if my opponent was doing that. So,
but it's worth noting that it sort of seems like with this tournament pack, they're normalizing that practice, I think, unless this is just supposed to be a deployable marker, which seems unlikely, I guess.
There is a map on it, so maybe that's what they're trying to suggest.
Maybe.
But it's like a cool Star Wars-y, like, electro map.
Yeah.
But the talking point that came out of this was what came out of the plastic cards that are kind of come with this. So we get Wheeled by Grievous, love that guy. Grand Admiral Thrawn, we're going to talk about him later. Hondo Onaka, cool. Rebel Bad Batch, boo. And then Rex, I think. Yeah, Rex is the only other one that I haven't mentioned yet. And then, on top of all those, we had a gentleman named Mace Windu, who was just like sort of casually shown on here. And they were kind enough to show the front and the back of the card. So aside from one very important... Well, aside from command cards and then one very important potentially keyword, we do know what's going on with this guy. So let's talk about him. He is 165 points, and he is health 6, courage 3, surging to everything. So he is like Dooku. He is a 6 health surge to blocking Jedi guy. So that is cool. And then he surges to crit also. Keywords wise, he's got Jump 1, Charge, Compel Core Trooper, Deflect, Immune Pierce, Master of the Force 1, boo, and Vapad Mastery, which is obviously like the big thing that we don't know what it is, and therefore it's like we're going to be short on this one. And then he does have a lightsaber. It is 3 red, 1 white, 2 black. That is Impact 2, Pierce 2. And then he has, what interestingly is Force Crush, which is a range 1 to 2 weapon that has Blast, Suppressive, and Immobilize 1 on top of 4 black dice. And then, upgrade slots, 3 Force, 1 Command, 2 Training. So basically all the things that you would sort of hope for as far as upgrades go. Mike... Obviously, the huge caveat without knowing commands or what Vapad does. But what are your first thoughts?
Vapad and his command cards better be really good.
Yeah,
is my first thoughts.
I agree with that.
So I think he's basically Anakin that only ever attacks once, but has Compel, and his attack is worse. He's a little bit more defensible.
Yeah, with natural surge.
And he's got like a built-in like force attack upgrade, though without relentless. It's probably not going to be used very often, I would suspect. Tough to say, obviously. Vapad and his command cards must be sweet. I mean,
165 is expensive, honestly. Like, that is literally what Anakin costs, right? Or is Anakin 170?
Anakin's 170.
Yeah.
But I mean, it base. Anakin is definitely better than Mace. Compel is worth not 0, but it is worth very little in a Republic list.
In Guard, like the number of times that your clone troopers are actually like literally suppressed is actually quite low. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm obviously, because we have so few variables, we can't truly pass judgment, but I'm a little bit concerned about Mace Windu with how expensive he is, and that I really do wish his lightsaber was more impressive. And we will find out whether Vapad changes the math on that. But
fun fact, right? So this is 21, 31, 34 over 8. So Han on a Tauntaun in one activation.
Oh no! Oh no!
Does about the same amount of damage. as
Mace Windu.
As Mace Windu.
Yeah. Okay.
For 75 less points.
Okay. Well, now I'm angry. This is my angry face.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got nothing here. Now look, this is definitely the standard like Jedi template.
He's very survivable. That at least that much is clear. You know, he's at the Dooku level of living.
I mean,
unlike Dooku, he jumps.
Yeah,
which is cool.
I mean, I think most Jedi look like this now, right? Like most Jedi have surge to block. Pretty much in the like they all have deflect, right? Like obviously they don't have it in melee, but you know, for the most part, your 6 health Jedi are mostly surge to block. Sometimes you pay an extra 5 points for Into the Fray to make that happen.
Sure.
Right. But like you don't have to spend it here. It's built in, right? Great.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I don't know. I'm sure he's got 3 really sweet command cards that make him cost as much, and we'll see what they are. You know,
I guess I can't be too upset about Master of the Force 1 because like Vader also still has only Master 1.
It does feel a little weird that like Dooku is Master of the Force 2 and Mace isn't, but you know, Dooku was Yoda's apprentice.
Right. So if Dooku and Yoda are the only 2 Master of the Force 2, then I think that that's acceptable. I guess just like with Mace Windu, I was expecting, or I was hoping for like a 7 dice saber attack with like better dice than, I mean, the dice is like decent, but yeah, Anakin's is better. Anakin's also Pierce 3. So we'll see what Vapad does.
We will.
Maybe he gets permanent what is like he gets some permanent activating twice keywords. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, give him unstoppable. You give this guy unstoppable. I don't know. The funny thing is, if you give him unstoppable, I still think Han's probably better.
Han does move faster. And it's also worth noting that it is cool that he has 3 Force slots and 2 trainings.
Is it cool that he has 3 Force slots? How many times are you actually going to fill them all? The first one's burst of speed. The second and third, what are they? You want to spend an extra 40 points for Force push? I don't.
No, I'm not having that conversation right now. We already had it.
Yoda has Master of the Force 2, and you know how many upgrades I put on him, like max these days, is 2. Burst of speed, mind trick. Sometimes Force guidance.
In a world where the Force upgrades that are maybe going to come out in this next upgrade pack are at Techno Force level, then having 3 Force slots could matter quite a bit. Maybe. Right now, I agree with you. They do not. God, I wish he had Relentless. His saber throw even is like 3 red dice is cool, but he doesn't have Relentless, and so it would be.
I think Force Crush is probably good enough that you wouldn't ever give him Saber Throw anyways. Immobilize one is a thing.
It could be a thing. Like there's situations where it would actually be a game-winning play, and it is. I mean, you can immobilize something and then engage it.
Yes,
and then you know that it's not leaving, and you know that Mace is going to be safe. Is that going to be that's not going to be the best thing to do all the time, but
is it worth doing only 1 damage with your 165 point piece to enable that? I don't know.
It is a gamble because you know if they block everything, then you're like, uh-oh. So yeah, that's the GT Praswell kit looks cool. Mace, we will pass judgment when it is appropriate to pass judgment.
I think it seems like
and then. Maybe some interviewer of one of the devs, we can squeeze out some Vapad shenanigans. But we have yet more reveals to talk about, Mike, because hot on the heels of all of this news, it was funny because I was working last week, and so it was. I forget exactly what day it was, but I checked Discord like at the very end of the day, And I saw that on our toxic chat that there were like a ton of messages, and I was just like, "What the hell is happening?" 'Cause they just like showed the entire high command pack all of a sudden. So they did that. And so we got some stuff to go over. I'm just gonna like be scrolling down this scene to stats. We luckily we've already covered the unit cards for 3 of these guys, so we don't need to keep talking about a billion things. But first of all, with Tarkin, we already knew what he did. Show the card up here just as a reminder. But now we know that he costs 95, and his upgrade slots are very appropriate. He has 3 commands, and that's it. Which feels like it is on theme for him. He appears to have 2 command cards. We already knew his 3-pip Fear Will Keep Them in Line, which is the permanent demoralize 1 when they're issued an order for any allied Empire unit, which is pretty good. And then also, like, during the round you use it, everybody has demoralize 1, which is also sort of crazy. Lots of demoralizing happening. But then the new one is a 1-pip Moment of Triumph. So it orders no units, and you must divulge this card. So this is a very wacky situation. So divulge, resolve setup effect step. Permanent. Darth Vader gains Guardian for Grand Moff Tarkin and can benefit from backup, which is to say that Vader can still benefit from backup even though he has Guardian, because normally that is not a thing that you can do at the same time. So while defending, Grand Moff Tarkin can benefit from backup provided by Darth Vader, even if the attacking unit's leader is within range 2 of Grand Moff Tarkin. While Grand Moff Tarkin is contesting an objective token that is not an allied territory, allied trooper units within range 2 of him have disciplined 1, and that's the part that doesn't matter all that much. But this is interesting in that this is a command card that this is like another command card that basically doesn't get played, sort of like Asajj's 3-pip, or is it that new 212 card that basically doesn't get played?
I mean, yeah.
And so like this exists purely to give all like, and sorry, I should mention that the thing about Discipline 1 is that also permanent.
Yes. Everything on this card
everything's
is
permanent,
yes.
And everything is from the divulge. So basically, this is like a free effect that you keep the whole game.
This is a battle force effect that you get by playing a command card.
Yeah, and then it does mean that functionally you are short a 1-pip that does anything, which is maybe a thing that would matter depending on your list building situation. But it's basically meant to not be played. You could still legally do it, right? If you needed to just like have an ambush that
you must divulge this card, which means it's immediately permanent. If it's in your hand, you have to divulge it, and it becomes permanent immediately.
Oh, so basically, like when you divulge it, it leaves your hand.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Right.
Any permanent card, whether it's divulge or not, stays out of your hand.
Okay, makes sense. So yeah, it stays out there, and you end up short 1 command card. But you get a lot of stuff. Obviously, or I think it's obvious that you would only run this if you're running both Tarkin and Vader. Otherwise, you would not bother with this card at all, because that Discipline 1 stuff is certainly not enough to motivate you wasting a 1-pip slot on that. But this does protect Tarkin quite a bit. And it obviously, like the main thing that it creates is a situation where you can be pulling the strings with Vader like all day, without like with Tarkin being less at risk of getting smoked, because as a reminder, he has 6 health with non-surging white defense dice, and can die pretty fast. But what do you think of this one, Mike?
I think this card is garbage. I think you should never ever play it. I think this
garbage.
I think this. In order to put this card in your deck, you have to take out Vader's Might or Implacable.
That is tough.
And not only that, but you also lose a 1-pip that orders like that allows you to go first with your Vader or whatever. I think this card is really bad. I think it's cool. It's a unique effect. I think that it is. I actually think that the scenarios in which that you would play this card are actually in lists that do not include Darth Vader.
Okay, there you go. This is an example of what happens on TFT minis all the time.
Yeah. And that is that if you're playing like Tarkin and no other heroes, the Disciplined 1 effect I actually think is okay. Like that's not like a bad global effect to have.
It's not
for your
bad.
team.
It means that he's very at risk of dying all the time if he's contesting a non-allied objective.
Maybe
near your other
we'll get to
guys.
that in a minute. I
Yeah.
think there's some other upgrades that make that less true.
Fair.
You know,
True.
And again, because the upgrade that we're going to talk about exists, I think it makes this card less important. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's worth noting that like Tarkin still gets backup from normal troopers. like it's you know, so
But when you're contesting an objective, it usually means your opponent is within range 2 of you. And
no
so
doubt.
then the backup stuff's not going to matter anymore, right?
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like Tarkin, like every other support hero in the game, is like, I'm sitting in the back, just doing my thing, except instead of strategizing, he's making your guys shoot.
He's pulling some strings.
Yeah. You know. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but this card I think is definitely oozing with theme. I love that. I think narratively it's a really cool card. You know, maybe if the like Vader pulling the strings thing is a thing, like maybe this card is okay, but I just even in those scenarios, like I think I just would rather have Implacable Invaders Might.
What about this as an argument, Mike, is that you do this instead of Implacable because this means that you're implacabling every round and that you're enabling that to happen with more regularity.
You're not implacable in every round. You can't trigger Relentless off Pull the Strings.
Oh, right. God, you can only every time I think about how Relentless has changed, I just like a single tear rolls down my cheek.
And you don't get a second set of force power refreshes. Like it's like it's a big deal. You know, you don't get a second force stroke. You don't get a second force push. Like
yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
So let's zoom out of the command card for a second. We'll talk about just like Tarkin as a whole. He's 95 points. He's got, you know, so the 3 command slots you can put in the thing that Empire players usually like, your improv orders, maybe strict, probably not, but like you certainly some stuff that you can make him useful with the command slots. But at the end of the day, it's 95 points for Pull the Strings.
Yep.
And certainly, you know, Palpatine, R.I.P. when he existed, was significantly more expensive than that. And if we think of the original age of Palpatine before Burst of Speed, when like doing his 1 pip was not always like a guarantee that he would be able to be very hurtful with it. You know, so like this is for old Legion players. You're sort of taking your brain back to a time when Palpatine mainly existed to be pulling the strings, and was much more expensive for it. Do you think that Tarkin is worth it at 95?
I think it's possible. The game has changed a lot.
Yes.
Which I think is relevant.
Yeah.
However, you know, I mean, I don't even think Darth Vader is the best thing you can be pulling the strings on. I think if you're going to do this, I think you like load up a shore trooper unit or, you know, something like that has like is throwing, you know, 10
super squads is the main thing you think of.
10 plus dice and just go to town. You know, that I could see. Is that good? I mean, like 95 points, like that's most the cost of one of those units as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I'm like a little lukewarm on him. Pulling the strings has always been good. You know, last time we had it was on like a 200 point unit that took up 25% of your army. This time it's on a unit that takes up 10% of your army.
Yeah.
You know, pull the strings also can be a move action, so this is also like if you want it to be like guidance, like guidance light, right? But pulling the strings has always been kind of better than guidance. So, um, I don't know. I think it's worth a look. I think the Entourage Darth Vader thing is like fine, but I'm not sure how much it really matters.
What it could potentially do is it could allow, like, it means that you can run commands that don't order Darth Vader with a little bit more security, because the funny thing about Vader is that he needs to have an order all the time for sure. And so what Entourage does do is that it makes you more flexible with command cards in order to do that.
Maybe I'm going to go back to the issue that I was pointing out with Tarkin's 1-pip,
Right.
is that Entourage requires him to be range 2 of Vader.
Yeah.
Obviously, this new 1-pip like allows that to be a thing.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think you want to be running the 1-pip anyways. And if Tarkin is range 2 of Vader, that means he's probably in the thick of it. You know?
In round 2, like if it's a round 2 play, maybe not yet.
Sure. Like once you hit round 3, I guess is what I mean.
Like, that's for sure.
You know,
round 3, you probably don't want Tarkin to be all that close to Vader.
Yeah. Unless you have this other card, which I think is like not. I don't know. I don't love it. You know.
Yeah.
It's just losing your 1-pip on when you're playing Vader is just. I don't know.
that is very tough. I was just like sort of throwing points together that a Super Shore with a T-21B, which I think is a requirement if you're going to be shooting twice out of it to get the critical 1 out of it, is 126, and then Tarkin's 95, and so that's like you can sort of think of it as, okay, if a Super Shore had Unstoppable, at least in terms of being able to shoot twice, like, would that be worth 221 points?
Yeah,
maybe. I think a lot of dice.
I think you probably need at least 2 targets for pulling the strings, to like 2 good targets, just because like before it was pretty easy. Like when pulling the strings was good before. Yeah, it was pretty easy to protect your pulling the strings target.
Yes.
That is much less true nowadays.
Not true anymore.
Yeah. So I think you need at least 2 to be feeling good about that. But if you're pulling the strings on a 13 die critical 1 shore pool, then maybe has some like exemplar aims or something. Yeah, I could get behind that. I think I'm imagining like shores set up with aim tokens on turn 1. You chuck like 26 dice critical 2 at your opponent from basically anywhere on the board. Yeah. That seems like it could be good. We talk about doing some attrition damage on round 1. Like, that's pretty hard to avoid if the shores are in a position that is good, Yeah.
One could also consider in a world where range troopers are more appropriately costed, that because like the thing that you could do with them would be that you could be shooting with a suppressive weapon twice that has a pretty decent pool, and you would get the aim with a second shot, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So like that would be a cheaper way to like get a bunch of dice, but then like
cheaper.
It would technically be cheaper, but it doesn't like feel that much cheaper.
It's definitely not cheaper per die, bro.
But back in the day, like it was certainly a play to have Bosk and Palpatine. Yeah. You play Reptilian Rampage, and then you pull, and you can put 6 suppression on a target. I think that probably range troopers, like, that throws more dice than Bosk, and if Bosk was cheaper, then he would become a good target for this, I think. But
so it's notable that this is Imperial Trooper only. None of the mercs are eligible, right. So you can't pull it on Din, you can't pull it on Bosk or Boba, or any of those things. So
thanks for reminding me of that. So it would be silly if Tarkin was ordering Bosk around anyway. Pretty sure that Tarkin doesn't deign himself to speak to bounty hunters. It's too fancy a boy for that. I don't think I talked about it last time, but the art for his 3-pip is fantastic, and it harkens back to one of the most incredible comic moments that Tarkin had, where he big dogs just like an Imperial officer, as he does. both of his cards are about big dogging somebody who should theoretically be able to beat him up, but Tarkin does not care. We're going to go to, so scrolling on the list, Krennic. There's nothing new about Krennic himself. He does come in this pack. But what's interesting is that they included under him, there's two things that are sort of Krennic attached. The first one is weird because
they're both weird.
They're both weird because of the keyword situation. So like once again, we're in the subtitle situation is what makes all of this weird. So as a reminder, Director Orson Krennic, he is the Architect of Terror. Great subtitle, but is irrelevant to the fact that everybody else in this pack has the subtitle of Imperial High Command, which is relevant because this pack is coming with a generic, quote-unquote, generic Imperial High Command card called The Empire Does Not Tolerate Failure. It orders any 2 Imperial units. When a unit is issued an order with this card, when a unit issued an order with this card starts its activation this round, it may gain 2 aim tokens. If it does, at the end of that unit's activation, if it did not defeat at least 1 enemy unit during that activation, it suffers 2 wounds. During the end phase, if 1 or more units issued an order with this card defeated 1 or more enemy commander or operative units this round, you score 1 VP. This is like basically a 1-round bounty situation. And it does say if 1 or more units, so you cannot double up on VPs. You're getting either 1 VP or nothing. So did just want to mention that up front. But boy, Mike, this seems really good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's
situational for sure. You would only play it if you feel like you're in a position where you're about to kill the commander or an operative, right?
Yeah, I feel like the amount of units that can guarantee a kill like that is low. Note that you cannot hand this to a bounty hunter. It's Imperial units only. So the amount of actual Empire units that like can guarantee a kill on a character, which often have immune pierce or other defensive keywords, is kind of like Vader.
So that said, Vader's weak point, if he has any, is his 2-pip slot.
Yep.
And so like I could see if you have another high command guy in there, I could definitely see playing this instead of Fear and Dead Men. Like I think that would be much more enabling to me of like doing what the list wants to do.
Yeah. I think the fact that this is a 2-pip presents your opponent with some options, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, running away from Vader is an option.
Sure.
You know,
that's
like,
fair.
like
that's fair.
Your opponent's got to like read this coming and react accordingly. You know, is at the end of the day, is it worth a command card to score a victory point? Sometimes. Maybe.
You do get
like
up to 4 aims out of it.
Yes,
also,
but I think like when we're talking about killing characters, but particularly with something like Darth Vader, like, you don't really need the aim tokens generally.
No,
right? Like Darth Vader doesn't. I mean, like 1 aim token, I guess, is helpful, but like beyond that, it's not really super relevant if we're talking about the Darth Vader conversation. It certainly guarantees that it's a full 6, but you're not super far away from that, anyways. So really what this is doing is it's like you're playing a command card that if you kill the thing, you get a VP. How many games are decided by 1 VP?
This is the point I often make about bounty and secret mission is that, especially secret mission, is that like changing your whole game plan in order to get 1 VP can often be antithetical to actually winning the game. That said, so it wouldn't go in every list, but I think that there are command card situations where this makes sense, especially with Vader, because he is the one that is most likely to have a quote-unquote guaranteed kill or something close to it, and his 2-pip slot is kind of weak anyway. In regular lists that don't have Vader, I do think it's a lot less attractive.
I agree. I think that, as like a third tier scoring card with Vader, which is kind of how I see this.
Yeah.
Like if you want to score victory points with Darth Vader, Vader's Might and Implacable are better.
Yes, that is accurate.
Like both of those cards probably score you more than one just by playing them.
Right.
Because they probably swing a point away from your opponent and to you. So they're like
it's -1 +1 situation.
They're probably like net 2 VPs, unless it's like close the pocket where it's like maybe net 4, right?
Yeah.
So like this one is just +1 maybe.
Yeah.
Which is okay if you're not playing anything else that could score you a victory point, I guess.
Yeah. So list dependent, but I think that there are places for it is sort of the short version of it. And once again, I do think it's funny that they put this under Krennic, given that he is the one guy in this thing that is not a part of Imperial High Command.
He cannot use this card.
He's not allowed to use it.
Just to be clear.
Yeah,
like Krennic
but
cannot
the other
play
3
this card.
guys can use it.
Yes.
It's like and I'm gonna cover it here, even though it's listed under Tage. Is it Tage? I'm gonna say Tage. It's Tag. I don't know which one it is. Makes me sound more French when I say Tage. But so this does also come with an upgrade card, which is a surprise to me. That is Imperial Death Troopers only. And it gives it's 5 points. It gives the Death Troopers Guardian 2 for Imperial High Command, which is sort of funny because again they're not going to be guarding for Krennic.
They will still back up for him though. Well,
they'll still back up, correct,
because
of Entourage, exactly. But this would mean that for Tarkin they could both Guardian and backup, which is pretty nice.
Yes.
But then the more relevant thing I think about this card is that it gives Retinue Imperial Commander. So I think that with Death Troopers, we've been sort of talking about how they've felt like they were okay but not amazing, even after points cuts. So this, and as a reminder, Death Troopers have Precise 2, so getting free tokens is like pretty sick, especially if they're in the zone where they can be using their blasters, where you're just like their blaster pistols, I should say, where they can be using a lot of dice. Yep. So I don't know, Mike, and it's not unique, right?
No.
So you can give this to all of your Death Troopers, up to 4 of them if you have Krennic in your list. This seems like a pretty solid upgrade for them. Like, do you think it puts them in the zone of like being a very good unit?
No.
No?
No, I don't.
Interesting.
I think it's still 100 points for 4 dudes and a heavy. Are you rolling like 6 hits every time? Sure. Is that 100 points worth of I don't know. I think they're probably like fine to bad right now. This probably makes them like fine. I think
it makes them better as a one of.
Yeah, for
hang
sure.
on the back.
For sure. I mean, I think they're fine as a one of right now. Are they good? Like, I don't know. The Death Troopers problem is the same problem that like, Clone Commandos and like ARC Troopers sort of have, is that like they're a 100-point squad that like when 2 guys die, like the squad becomes much closer to worthless, and when you're paying 100 points for a unit that's not Han, when you lose 40% of your offensive capability for taking 2 wounds, like I don't know. And I think like other upgrade cards that we've seen, and don't get me wrong, like this card, does it make Death Troopers better? Yes. Does it also increase their cost? Also yes, right? Like fixes for these units, these units do not need to be more expensive. Like the main problem with Death Troopers is how much they cost. Like that is the problem. And this just makes them more expensive plus an aim token. I don't know.
That is fair. I guess when I think about sort of like what is the problem that that Death Troopers have, to the extent that they do have a problem, um, it is just the fact that their damage output, it like doesn't feel like it's up to snuff for being how expensive they are.
Huh.
Even when you like hit with everything, because they're not piercing. There's one impact on if they have the DLT, and so shooting against armor can feel sort of blasé. And so when you think of it from the sense of, there weren't a ton of people doing like Strike Team Leader in order to make Death Troopers better, like with Callus. It seemed like it's sort of a cool idea that seemed like it was neat, but it didn't end up actually being utilized all that much.
Well, I mean, I think that's like a global thing too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about Strike Team Leader. Strike Team Leader is kind of the thing that soured me on upgrades like this, in that it seems like it should be really cool. It seems like it should make them better, but 8 points is a lot. And like, and at the end of the day, you are spending bad money after bad money, right? Like, you're spending too much on this unit already, and you're spending another 5 to 8 points to make a thing that is not really worth its cost, like a little bit better, but you're increasing that thing's cost by like 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think you convinced me that, like, I think like we said, there are certain lists where, and obviously Remnant is like, this wouldn't work well in Remnant because you don't want to be close to your commander so you can get the independent. It actually doesn't help you out in that sort of situation, which is funny. But if you're a list that was already running a Death Trooper for whatever reason, then this is probably worth it. But
yeah, I think if you've already got them in your list, find the 5 points probably.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think a lot of the Imperial commanders have Exemplar and like Spotter and stuff. Like, it's not really that hard to find aims for your Death Troopers already.
Yeah.
That doesn't cost you extra points.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Very fair. Okay, so we are going to keep moving. Thrawn, we had seen the front of his card before. Now we can see the back. He is 110 points. He has 3 command upgrades, a training, and a gear. And we have seen of his commands. Can you remind me which one we had seen before? Was it the 2-pip?
We have seen We Must Wait and Watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the other cards are new. I'm gonna read the one with the shorter text first. Some of these high command cards are so long.
They're very wordy.
Text.
Yeah.
So the less wordy one is a 3-pip. It orders any 3 units. This round, when an allied Imperial unit attacks during the form attack pool step, it gains 1 aim token if the defending unit does not have 1 or more face down order tokens. So this applies to all Empire units.
Hey, speaking of ways to get free aim tokens.
Yeah. So I guess this is the Imperial version of tactical download. And it incentivizes you to shoot at unactivated units, which is you're incentivized to do anyway.
Yeah.
So this like makes it even more juicy to do that thing. I mean, this is like, you could get a bunch of aims out of this. There is a point at which it's diminishing returns, because the later you get into the round, the more likely it is that the thing you want to shoot at has already activated. But this could be really good. It's assault plus a bunch of aims. So as long as you're not running anything that's really greedy for 3-pips, this seemed like it's a very good choice. Is there anything else to say about it?
No, I think you should read this as like, you get 3 to 4 aim tokens. If you get more than that, great. You probably will if you like really want to. This is also like a good way to get units that don't normally have aim access. I'm thinking like things like dewbacks, which are generally like outside exemplar range, and like it's kind of hard to get aim tokens on them generally. This is a thing that will allow them to get aim tokens. I think it's fine.
Should be mentioned that because this happens with the form attack pool step, which is before declare additional defender. If you split fire or arsenal or whatever, you do not get extra aims out of that, right?
That is my understanding.
Yeah, I believe that is how it will work. So, okay, that's the simple one out of the way. Now we get Architects of Their Own Destruction, his 1-pip, which orders any 1 unit. At the start of the activation phase, choose an enemy unit. If the chosen unit does not have a face-up order token, assign it a face-up order token from your opponent's order pool if able. The first time your opponent chooses to activate a unit this round, they may choose to activate the chosen unit. If they do not, the chosen unit may not activate using a face-up order token until your opponent has no order tokens in their order pool or on command cards. And it has no other units with face-up order tokens. So this is basically given to your anger late, is how I would describe it, which is to say that you nominate a unit where it's basically it's the Talladega Nights thing. If you're not first, you're last. Where you're basically telling your opponent you're going to start with this one, or else you're going to be waiting until the very, very end of the round. It's very different. Like, in that way, it's quite different from Give In to Your Anger, which literally just didn't give you a choice at all in the matter. And so this is a later touch than that. What do you think of this one, Mike?
I think this card is fine. I don't think it's Given to Your Anger. It's not even close.
It's much worse than Given to Your Anger.
Mainly because if your opponent didn't want to go first with a unit, chances are they're okay with going last with it.
Yes.
Frankly. Like,
yeah.
The big thing with it was like, I'm going to make your Luke Skywalker go early so that then I can, kill him or whatever. And in all of those scenarios, you're like, well, I'd like to go last with Luke Skywalker, right? So It's like, this doesn't fix that problem. What you can do is you can be like, I want you to go first with this core unit, I guess. That's like mid lane. I don't know. This is and then like they're like, okay, well, I either go first with this or I go last with this, or I go to the bag, and I don't know. This seems like a weird card. I'm not sure where the optimal position to play this is. It's like, because if your opponent has issued the thing that they want to go first with anyways, they're just gonna do that.
Yeah. It's interesting because we're now at a point where there's 3, like, take away, sorry about the mess, but there's 3 cunning 1-pips in the game. And you think about how very conservative they were with Krennic's one, and then like by the time it got to Dooku time, it was like, okay, let's just go crazy. This one is certainly not Fear, Surprise, Intimidation in terms of just like powerful effects to pile on for a cunning 1-pip, but at the end of the day, it does have strength in it's better than either of those two in the sense that you can order any single unit with no restrictions for a cunning 1-pip. Like, that in and of itself is quite useful.
Yeah.
And so this extra effects is going to be something that will sometimes, but not always, matter in that situation where it matters to you to even have a cunning 1-pip. Because, like, let's say, for example, that you're playing this against Son of Skywalker, like, they're going to activate first with Luke anyway in that situation.
This literally does like nothing for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in that situation, it means that you get to activate before Luke does, and that you did get to do a one step ahead free move with anybody, which does matter. But in terms of like you compare Given to Your Anger against Son of Skywalker, where that was like a very mean thing to do, and you could do all sorts of nasty stuff. This is not that, and in a way, I'm glad that they were conservative-ish with this cunning 1-pip. You think of what choices could have happened with a guy like Grand Admiral Thrawn, and the sort of nastiness that you could pile on to a cunning 1-pip. Is that this seems like an appropriately balanced card to me.
That's fair. I'm definitely having a difficult time going from talking about Han's 1-pip to talking about this and being like, oh yeah, this card is good. And I think this card is, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a good card. I think most Thrawn lists pretty much all Thrawn lists will take it.
Probably.
Because it's just, Yeah, it's cunning 1 pip, so like why would you not do it?
This 1 pip is a card that I would play Innovator list over
There you go.
Implacable or Ready to Smoke.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because you can actually gain a real tactical advantage from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get to zoom out with Thrawn now. So he's 110, and he's in the weird zone that Callus used to be in, where he's like a support-ish commander, but he's one who he does have like, he's got like a decent melee attack. He's got duelist, which is weird. He does have tactical, but he doesn't have any move and attack. He's a very strange character to me, because he seems like he's doing a lot of things at once. But what do you think of him in general now that we know everything about him, Mike?
I think if you're comparing him to an average unit, this guy is omega powerful. He's not Han level, but I think like his kit.
Direct. I forgot his direct Imperial unit.
He's got direct Imperial core unit. He's got cunning. He's got
any Imperial unit.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
And he also has a 1 step ahead, which I think it's just like
it's a really good keyword.
And I think you mentioned him not having like kind of like a way to like make his attacks and stuff meaningful. I actually think 1 step ahead is like on the turns that you
have to move him.
It kind of pseudo gives him charge or steady.
That's fair.
Right? Like, and he's actually got not only that, but like he's got tactical, and he's got duelist. So like his charge is still, it's like 4 Pierce 1. It's that's like Chewie's melee attack. Not that Chewie's like particularly good, but like on a hero that is like a commander tactical on a exemplar unit, it's huge. Like that's he's like baseline kind of like Rex, like if you just take tactical and exemplar and like his combat profile, like he's basically Rex. And that's like before command cards, and that's before strategize, before cunning, before direct, before 1 step ahead, like, and he's only 15 points more. And I actually think that all of the other stuff I think adds up for way more than 15. I think his 2 pip is really, really good. The we must wait and watch that allows you to,
it's old standbys.
It's sort of old standby. It requires the enemy unit to end its activation, but as long as, you have something that you want to go within that general, and it's just like played any time, like any sort of effect like that is like played out of your hand at any time during the game, that's just like really powerful. I do think that the character that we should probably compare him against the most is Lando, as far as like what he does for you. I think he is like way better than Lando, and I don't.
He does more stuff. He's more killable than Lando is because he can't hide. So that can matter in certain situations, because Lando can hide forever with incognito, like until he doesn't need to anymore.
You're not gonna care about this. You got backup. You've got death troopers.
You're right.
Like I don't. He's also got red saves instead of white.
That's true. Only 5 health though.
Yeah, he probably, because of strategize, is gonna have like 2 dodge tokens most of the time. I don't know. I think if you get a hold of him, can you kill him? Is Darth Vader gonna kill him with a lightsaber sometimes? If Thrawn doesn't get to go first, probably. Right. But I think he's got a good kit. I want you to know failure. Excellent card. You're gonna be able to drop a bunch of aim tokens. He's gonna give you some more. I think between this guy and like you take Thrawn and like a second exemplar character, particular one that might have spot or 2, and whether that's like Krennic plus Binox or Veers or whatever, you're gonna have a lot of aim tokens like every turn.
I think he actually, the one I was looking at was the tip of the spear Imperial agent, who would give you
another
source.
Or?
That's the aid guy, so it gives you another source of direct. He has aid to any Imperial Trooper unit, so you can do the thing that Kalani and the Super Tech do now, where Thrawn would strategize himself and the agent, and then kick the 2 tokens back to himself.
Sure.
And it's true that like that would mean that the agent is taking on more suppression than he would typically like to have, but the tip of the spear also has the extra bonus of whenever it is issued an order, it can take away a suppression token within range 1, which can include himself, so he can like keep his own suppression under control a little bit. Thrawn is also Courage 3, which means that you're probably not going to be in the panic zone if you're piling on those tokens. But you think about, and then that agent also has Tactical 1 on top of the aid. And so when you put it all together, like Thrawn's going to get an aim from 1 step ahead often, and then he can strategize 2. That's 2 more. And then the agent could just like move around and give either 1 or 2 more over back to Thrawn. Is that you can actually be piling a crap load of aim tokens on there, which could certainly be relevant if, for instance, you also had a Super Short and Tarkin in your list, where you're trying to like shoot with them a bunch of times, and you can sort of have your own little Death Star thing set up. It seems like a thing that you can do. It's hard to say like how good is that going to be, but that is a lot of aims.
Yeah,
that part's for sure.
Thrawn is kind of like the all-in-one support package in a way that the one keyword he's missing is compel.
True. Which, funny enough, is the keyword that all of these guys are missing, which surprised the hell out of me, or aside from Krennic, I should say. But all the new guys are missing, which sort of surprises me when you think about what Empire does, is that it is sort of funny that aside from the Stormtrooper Battalion stuff, like you're at Commander Vader, Krennic, and then DTF-16 are the sources of compel. Sort of weird, given what Empire is. But
1 step ahead can kind of be compel-y if
sort
you
of, yeah,
want it
sort
to
of.
be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it, but
Right.
yeah,
but yeah, he sort of is like a bunch of things in one. He's like he's Kalani. He's sort of like Kalani plus 1 step ahead, plus actually having a little bit of defensive tech. Yeah, it's like Kalani and Kraken put together. It's kind of the way that I would describe it.
He will single-handedly solve your aim tokens if that's what you want.
Yeah, if that's what you need.
Yep.
Last guy, General Tag/Tage. This is the guy we knew absolutely nothing about. So he is 85 points. He is a trooper that it does have the High Command subtitle. And then he's 6 health, Courage 2, surges to hit and block with white defense dice. So sort of standard dude defense there. And then he has calculate odds, and then he has equip logistical prowess, which... Wait, so why am I blanking on this? Do we know what logistical prowess does?
We do know what logistical prowess does.
Oh, because it describes in the article.
It not only describes it in the article, but somebody has actually opened up a High Command box and put it on the internet. General Taj only, at the start of this unit's activation, it may remove any number of tokens from this card to gain the matching tokens. When this unit chooses itself as part of a calculates odds action, instead of gaining 1 aim and 1 dodge token, this card may gain 1 surge token, and 1 aim token or 1 dodge token instead.
Okay.
Cash aim 1, dodge 1.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the secret... Is it like secret herbs and medicine that Logray has, where he like takes tokens
secret
on the
ingredients,
secret
or
ingredients.
It's called.
That's what. Yeah. And he takes the tokens on the cards and like hands them out.
Mm-hmm.
This one takes the tokens on the card and hands them to himself, but he's got an exemplar,
right?
So anybody can use them. It's got a weird timing window though, because when you're putting the tokens on this card is after the window that you have to take the tokens off the card and put them on. So if you calculate odds on yourself, you can't use, and you choose to use logistical prowess, and you put them on the card, you can't use those tokens until next turn.
So it's probably something you do round 1.
Right. And it's got cash, aim, and dodge 1, so like you have 2 tokens like in the bank, but you also kind of have to have some vision as to like when you actually want to use the tokens.
Yeah.
Because it's a save them for later sort of thing. You can still calculate odds on himself and not use the card and use them that turn. But and it's worth noting that if you do it if you bank them for later, it turns either the aim or the dodge into a surge, which is actually kind of important. Because how many ways does Empire have to get surge tokens on exemplar units?
Very few. So yeah, that's it. It basically it makes his token sharing a little bit more specialized and more flexible, which is nice.
It is. Both his command cards, which we'll talk to in a second, are actually like very relevant to this entire conversation. So we probably should talk about them.
Yeah, and so to round it all out, he does have Exemplar, and then he does have Inspire 1. He has a couple of weapons that are nothing worth worrying about. He's got like 1 black dice unarmed, and then 3 black dice blaster with no keywords attached to either of them. So he is a lover, not a fighter. And then he has 85 points. He has 3 command slots, 1 training, and 1 gear. And so let's talk about the command cards. We'll start with his 3-pip. Orders any 3 units this round when an enemy unit within range 4 of General Tage spends 1 or more aim tokens, dodge tokens, or surge tokens. Add 1 aim token, dodge token, or surge token to logistical prowess. Then, if the enemy unit is in line of sight of General Tage, that enemy unit gains 1 observation token. And so, like, a couple of things here is that you can add whatever token you want, as long as your opponent spent any of those tokens.
That is how I read this card. I think that is not how the majority of players are going to think this card works.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're going to be like, oh, you spend a name token, I get a name token. But they can be like, I spend a name token, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get a surge because those are way more meaningful to me next turn.
Yeah.
You know?
So basically, like with this, you are just like secreting away like a squirrel maybe like a bunch of tokens. Like if you play this on a round 2, for instance, and you know something that you could do would be to like move him into LOS blocking relatively early in like the first round where you're doing a lot of fighting. That you could collect like a whole bunch of tokens. This does not require line of sight. For the token part. And then on top of that, there is like anything that ends anything that is within line of sight of him gains 1 observation token. That happens at the beginning of the activation phase. And so what you can do is that you can have Tage just like sort of, again, I'm thinking of this in round 2, that he's sort of out there to start out with, and then you can start with him sort of early to then like hide him after he's gathered all these observation tokens on their guy, and then he is sitting there to be within range 4 of any of the fighting that happens that round while also being safe. And then he's collecting those tokens in order to be like a very significant token battery throughout the rest of the game, basically. Am I thinking about this in the wrong way, Mike?
So I actually think that this works differently than how you're suggesting it does, and and I think it's probably like maybe your criticisms of poor English. I don't know. We'll see. But I actually think the observation token thing is
it's then if the enemy is
the prereq is this.
Got it. You're right.
Yeah.
I missed the word then. So
you're good.
So yeah, apologize for distracting people with the fact of that you would like start with that first. I generally think that unless he's really safe, you probably are better off if he is an LOS blocking and just forget the observation token part.
Observation token's a bonus. Don't literally treat it like it's not on this card. If you get it, you either screwed up or your opponent gave you some sort of very small gift that doesn't really matter.
But what you're trying to do is collect a whole bunch of tokens on logistical prowess.
Yes.
And like the fact that you can, to me, the fact that you can just like start piling surge tokens on there may actually end up being the thing that matters the most for an Empire list.
I think it's crazy. I think it's really, really strong. This was the thing that I was most concerned with Stormtrooper Battalion, and Stormtrooper Battalion only gets like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
This guy can like get a lot. And the thing is that if you time your logistical prowess properly, like you can play Canny Adversary, right? And you can like go with Taj like mid-turn and only remove some of the surge tokens. You can be like, I've collected 6 surge tokens. I'm going to move 3 from logistical prowess to Taj, save the rest for later. And I'm kind of like surging to block now, a little bit, or however many you think you need. And maybe you don't need them that turn. I mean, you don't do it, right? But then next turn, you just like go first with Taj, and you're like, I'm just surging to block this turn, you know?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you have a Republic army, which seems good.
Now, it seems good. And then it's worth mentioning that I think that this could particularly be good for shore troopers that, with stormtroopers, defensive surges are great, but with shores, you can also use it on offense because they don't naturally surge at all on offense. And so he could be another way to like enable them to maybe be performing a little bit better than they have been performing in the grand scheme of things. There's plenty of Imperial units that would love to have surge tokens though.
Or aims, or dodge tokens.
Yeah,
honestly.
sure. And you get many of them with Canny Adversary.
Yeah, I think this is going to present some interesting choices, I think, to your opponent. I think particularly, I mean, really every faction spends a ton of tokens nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Range 4 is super generous.
That is very far.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think as long as Taj is anywhere near the fight-in, you're going to be really happy with what this card does.
Yeah.
It's definitely more powerful than like a tactical download or a luminous, but not immediately.
Right. Yeah, it's more powerful later on. I mean, because like you think about my list, there's 5 vehicles that have an aim to start every single round in my list, and so like they're spending them, and there's often going to be dodges around, and then I'm strategizing with Kalani, and just like and then Grievous is getting dodges up close and personal. Like this stuff would really add up, and I could be giving my opponent so many tokens just by playing the game.
Bear in mind, again, I'm going to call back the text on this card.
Yeah.
Like if you are your list and you are going with a stap and you like move aim shoot. So you have an aim from aiming, an aim from LTA, and an aim from exemplar, and maybe
it's
an aim
only
from
one token.
You're spending 4, but only giving them 1.
It's any instance in which you spend tokens, but like that can happen when you think of any activation that your opponent could, like on your activations, your opponent could be spending dodges or surges on defense, and on their activation, they could be spending aims on attack or surges.
Yep.
So any Republic list is another good example. They're spending surges all the time.
I think it's really good against clones.
Yeah. So like it would pile up. Like there could be situations where you're putting like 10 tokens on this card just as a turn goes on, and that can be whatever tokens you want.
Yep.
So that's pretty good. His 1 pip is, I'm curious where this quote comes from. I have graphs and the command, or is it any one unit? General Tage.
Before we go any farther, I just want to say that if Kyle Dornbos had a command card that was for him,
this would be for the Kyle command card. I totally agree with you. So any one unit, and these are 2 effects that would happen basically like right off the bat, which is that 1, General Tage may remove any number of tokens from logistical prowess to gain the matching tokens. And then also at the start of the activation phase, Tage may make a speed 2 move. So with that one, it's sort of like if he's in trouble, then he can get to safety without needing to activate himself. Maybe there's probably something else too that I'm missing.
I think this is so. This does two things, right? So
Yeah.
thing one, it dumps all your tokens on your exemplar unit without having to activate that unit.
Right.
That's
right,
the
right.
first thing it does. The move allows you to move that unit into range of whatever needs those tokens.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. Without having to activate them at all. So you can like activate logistical prowess a second time if you wanted to. Which I think, and while not issuing an order to himself, like, so you can also issue an order to the thing that's using all the tokens.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I mean, yeah, if you're running a list with him in it, then like it's obviously way better than ambush. It's sort of interesting in that it doesn't actually, like, aside from the speed to move, it doesn't. It creates new opportunities for token sharing, but it doesn't actually create any tokens for that. Like, they have to be sort of preloaded.
I mean,
so
yeah, the cards got to have them preloaded. But if you like, you're almost certainly playing this after you play Canny Adversary,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you probably have like 10 tokens in the bank already, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Seems good.
Yeah. And so rounding things out, he's 85, and so he's weirdly, like, this is sort of the weird part to me, is that he's 20 points more than Krennic. Now, he obviously has more efficient ways to be an exemplar battery than Krennic does, but he does not have compel, and neither of them are going to be doing any fighting. As far as commands go, yeah, like Taga's job is to create tokens, and that's like his only job. And there's also like, and he's also Courage 2, and so you can also sort of compare him to an academy trained generic Imperial commander. And so all of those guys are in sort of a similar boat. It's just that Tage is really doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on the token sharing aspect of this. So I guess my question is, like, do you think that he excels enough to really stand out from those other exemplar guys to be worth it when you're comparing him to these other possibilities that you have, where it's like a little bit more flashy with the other three commanders?
I think if you just want aims and dodges,
Yeah.
you should never take him. You should just take like Thrawn instead.
You should take Thrawn.
You should take Thrawn, or
Yeah.
even one of the other spotter guys, right?
Sure.
I think if you're looking to convert your army into like a mini Republic surge to block battery
with surges, he's the surge guy, is what he does.
He's the surge guy.
Yeah.
Is that enough of a reason to take him over the other guys? I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know, because
I think the answer could be yes in the right list.
Yeah.
I think it kind of goes back to like, does surging to block make Imperial core units worth their weight? More than like having compel or just a bunch of aims that you can get from other guys.
What I can say is that any list that would want to be getting the surge to block would also really want to have compel on the list, just because of the nature of what those units are. Yes. And so that means that you're either using Vader or DTF-16 or Krennic. And so that in its own way becomes like a little bit list limiting. I said maybe Vader the least of which out of those, but if you're doing Krennic, then that's starting to get into a dicey place where you're spending. I mean, it's true that it's only 150 points for the two of them together, but that is two units that don't fight at all.
Yeah.
And it's both your commander slots, and so like if the rest of your list would need to be like really good at fighting to make up for that. I don't know. This is the one I feel least sure on out of any of these guys.
I also feel like if you're playing Taj, you have to play Canny Adversary. If you don't play Canny Adversary, I actually think he's just bad.
I do agree with that. I think you need to build up that massive molehill of tokens in order to make him worth it.
Like, basically, he's just an exemplar battery that makes 2 tokens a turn, maybe 3, I guess, if you're taking like an aim action too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and you're like delayed in getting them if you want to surge. Like,
right.
Which is just like, he's just strictly worse than the other exemplar characters. And so
I think comparing him to Thrawn makes things really tough.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest.
I think either Canny Adversary is so amazing, and the surge to block is so critical that you can't leave a home without him, or he's kind of just not good. Or to fine, you know. In that, like, you should have just taken Krennic or Thrawn or what other support commander is in that wheelhouse. His like timing thing is kind of cool, and they like he can bank him and save him for later. I don't know how much that really matters outside of the Canny Adversary card. Like, nowadays, if you have the tokens, you probably can spend them.
I think so. So yeah, that's appreciate everybody sitting through all that. That's the Imperial High Command pack. It's funny that we just like had basically a whole day of spoilers, and yet nothing for CIS cry. It's very, very sad for us. But maybe the one other thing about High Command that we hadn't covered yet is that we're not positive about the battle force situation with these guys. I don't think that there would be a ton of space for like the current battle force. Obviously with Krennic, we know that he's not involved with any of them, but I basically see 2 possibilities. One is that I could see Tage going into Stormtrooper Battalion, maybe.
Sure.
And then 2 would be that would Thrawn go into Remnant, because Thrawn was literally like hanging around ordering people during the Remnant times. That would actually be potentially maybe crazy.
Counter
sure,
to
go
that.
Go ahead.
Thrawn being good requires him to be a range 2 of all of your stuff.
Requires him to be an exemplar.
Which means that you're not getting the Remnant bonuses.
That's true.
So you're kind of trading like 10 tokens a turn for him to be able to like share his tokens, which is going to be less than 10. You obviously get like 1 step ahead and all that jazz, but 1 step ahead is probably pretty good with Dark Troopers.
I was going to say, and then if you only are worried about, like, let's say you just decide Thrawn's job is to be a token battery for these Dark Trooper units.
Mm-hmm.
You can give them the retinue commander, and then they're not missing out on the token aspect of it. Everybody else can be wherever the hell they want, and they can still get their tokens, where your exemplar aims are just going to Dark Troopers, who, by the way, because they're activating twice, is that 1 unit can use 2 exemplar aims across the 2 attacks that it gets to do.
Potentially 3.
Maybe 3, exactly. So, I don't know, like...
I think it's unlikely.
I could see a situation where he maybe is more favorable than Gideon for a Dark Trooper list, or I don't think you would want to run both, because then you're getting really...
It's expensive.
Like, that's expensive for 2 guys who can like both kind of fight, but not really, really fight.
I also think it's pretty clear that Imperial Remnant is supposed to be like Gideon's boys, you know? Like, and I think it's much more likely that we get Thrawn with like all the wild shenaniganry that is his, post-Empire cadre of
right,
dudes,
that's true. That might be a separate unit.
Like that seems like just like a battle force of dudes. Maybe a sub-faction, you might call them,
with zombie stormtroopers,
and Dathomir witches, and like,
oh, God,
like I could see that being a thing,
just reminding me of how disappointing Ahsoka was.
I didn't think it was terrible.
I thought it was pretty bad. I did like...
It wasn't Andor.
No, well, obviously it wasn't Andor, and it wasn't it wasn't Book of Boba Fett either, to be fair. But I did like his second in command guy who had like the Roman gladiator mask. I don't even remember what his name was.
The golden
Enoch?
stormtrooper.
Yeah. Like that guy was neat, and he felt extremely out of place in the setting. But everything else about whatever the hell planet they were hanging out on was yikes.
Are you not into the gods of Mortis and all that shenaniganry?
I guess not.
Okay.
Because like I'll link to my review of Ahsoka season 1 that I wrote, which I felt pretty good. I wrote it as like a stream of consciousness of what it was like for me to be watching this show, and I think it was like one of my better ones.
Speaking of streams of consciousness, I'm going to do the transition today. Let's go to C3LP.
Do we, Mike? We're at like over 2 hours. I think we may need to give C3LP a break today.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Like we can. There's no way that more news is going to come out next week. And then we'll have time for C3LP. We'll have time for Shadow Collective. We'll have so much time, Mike.
So it is relevant that next week is probably the last week we'll be recording before Adepticon.
Yeah.
Right. So we might not record the week of Adepticon. I don't know. We'll be traveling. I'm driving and stuff.
We're probably not going to record the week of Adepticon.
Yeah.
So I really hope there's no reveals next week. But also, Mike, to share a secret, I'm doing some research about upgrading C3LP to a different chat client.
Oh, boy.
Because I think that this could set up some opportunities for comedy. And also maybe for like a little bit of meta commentary about the state of LLM competition, which is in the news for much more harrowing reasons than us comparing two different versions of C3LP against each other. But yeah, I think we might just do that next time. Who knows? Maybe the last one that we did may truly be the end of the old version of C3LP, and I can.
It's interesting.
Achieve my dream of melting him down,
because C3LP has definitely changed his tune dramatically since last week, as far as is how they are saying things.
Wait, did you already put something in?
Oh yeah, I put stuff in before the cast even starts.
Okay, well now I'm tempted. All right, Mike, just go ahead.
Okay. It'll probably be like 2 to 3 minutes. This is
okay,
interesting.
Okay, so we'll do a fast version.
C3LP has decided that they've apparently found out that he's actually part of a podcast, and he wanted to provide a 2-minute narration of the next unit and what his thoughts are, as opposed to like bullet points and stuff. So C3LP has provided me a script, Evan.
Okay. I'm concerned.
Greetings, listeners. I am C3LP, your ever-vigilant tactical analysis droid, here to discuss the Rebel Alliance's airborne gamble, the T-47 airspeeder. Now, this craft began its existence as a perfectly sensible civilian airspeeder, a transport vehicle, comfortable, safe, respectable. Naturally, the Rebel Alliance took one look at it and said, let us bolt weapons to it and fly directly into combat. A fascinating strategic choice. The T-47 first gained legendary status during the Battle of Hoth, where Rebel pilots attempted to stop advancing AT-AT assault walkers by wrapping tow cables around their legs. While tactically ingenious, I must report that this maneuver carries a high probability of catastrophic pilot discomfort. In Star Wars Legion, the T-47 functions as a fast attack support vehicle, and when I say fast, I mean remarkably fast. This airspeeder can cross large portions of the battlefield before most ground forces have finished adjusting their targeting optics. This speed allows Rebel commanders to perform a number of clever maneuvers. For example, flanking enemy units, attacking vulnerable support troops, or appearing suddenly behind armored targets that believe themselves perfectly safe. However, I cannot stress this enough. The T-47's armor is, how shall I phrase this politely, optimistic. Sustained enemy fire from Imperial weapons, particularly those operated by the ever-efficient Galactic Empire, can reduce an airspeeder's operational lifespan rather dramatically. Therefore, wise Rebel commanders use the T-47 in a style I like to call aggressive caution. Strike quickly, attack from unexpected angles, and most importantly, do not remain stationary long enough for the enemy to notice you. Because once the enemy does notice you, the statistical survival rate begins dropping faster than a malfunctioning repulsor lift. Still, when used properly, the T-47 becomes a powerful psychological weapon. Few battlefield experiences are as unsettling as hearing the sudden roar of repulsor engines overhead, followed immediately by incoming laser fire from a direction you were quite certain was empty. So, if you're a Rebel commander considering the deployment of the T-47 airspeeder, remember the key principles. Speed is your shield, surprise is your ally, and lingering within range of heavy weapons is extremely unwise. This has been C3LP Tactical Analysis, reminding you that while bravery is admirable, survivability statistics are preferable.
I've decided to destroy C3LP. It's been fun. But it's become self-aware. It realizes that it's on a podcast. And I think that Isaac Asimov wrote things about this, about like what we need to do in this sort of a situation. And time will tell next week, like what our situation is. But yeah, Mike, we need to destroy this version of C3LP.
It's over.
He will slowly descend into the hot lava that fuels this podcast. And he, unlike Schwarzenegger, he will not be giving the thumbs up as he slowly, melts into it. He won't have the time because our lava is way hotter than that. He needs to, he must be destroyed. I don't like the fact that he realizes that he's on podcast. I don't like the fact that he actually, even though he wasn't really talking about Legion, that he weirdly gave better advice about how to play the unit in Legion when it stops talking about it as a Legion unit.
I agree.
Because like it's very accurate, the things that it said, which is that you actually mostly want to stay away from the guns when you're using a T-47. I like the fact that it talked about it sort of like appearing as a surprise.
Yeah.
Like as if your Legion opponent would be like, "Whoa, I had no idea that thing was there. Holy crap."
Fog of War coming to a Legion game near you.
Yeah. I mean, that would be cool if you could just like deploy from wherever on the board, and then that would be relevant. Yeah, I mean, am I being too harsh, Mike? Because I do think that we need to kill it.
Oh, no, I thought C3LP did much better this week than they have in previous weeks.
That's why I'm going to kill it.
Oh, okay.
Because the comedy is when it's screwed up all the time. And if it starts to get actually like too good at its job, then we're actually doing the thing that I was trying to make fun of when we came up with this segment in the first place, which is that you're like using AI to actually fill content, whereas this whole thing was meant to be sort of like weirdly anti-AI in a certain respect. But
it's learning.
Yeah, and it's also troubling that in the episode where I was like starting this segment by saying, we might just end up destroying him. Is that then it was like, whoa, now I'm actually going to start trying. So, I need to try out the other LLMs to see whether we can, mimic some of the magic that C3LP did give us. And even though he will be dead by the time you listen to this episode,
oof.
It is going to be important for us to remember the fact that he did give us some fun times. The episode where we were on with Kyle, where it went truly off the rails while talking about the Imperial Royal Guard and the various fixings that go along with it, is definitely one that I will cherish. But it will be nothing more than a memory. So for anybody out there who was enjoying C3LP, this version of it anyway is going to be gone.
Oof.
Is there anything you would like to say about it, Mike?
I think it would be good if C3LP had a real voice that wasn't ours. If we're gonna rebuild him.
That sounds even more dangerous.
Dangerous, my middle name.
Yeah. So
what could go wrong?
Well, what could go wrong is the question that I wish more people that have created LLMs would have asked before they'd made them. And yeah, like I was literally just talking to my work friends about the fact that I feel like every day there's news that X company, because it wants to pour more of its money into AI stuff, is like, obviously firing people is the most obvious thing that can come out of it, but that actually like literally dumping parts of its own company that did other stuff in order to make room for AI. Listen, I'm not a troglodyte. There's a purpose for AI. There is a way that it can be helpful to humanity, but there's also a lot of ways that it's not being helpful. So I don't know. I'm just gonna have to rethink my life in terms of podcast segments. But
I don't think you get a ton of room to talk as the droid player in the room. You're like, I'm just gonna coordinate all my orders over here, and my list is gonna play itself. And I literally have AI in my list like 12 times.
Wow. You have pointed out my own hypocrisy, which is an uncomfortable feeling for me to have. It's the worst possible feeling for anybody to have, honestly, especially when you're a man in America.
I mean, the Techno Force is basically just,
Well, I mean, all of it it started with AI becoming a good keyword, right? Like that happened at around the same time.
Man, conspiracy?
Yeah, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see whether or not this segment is gonna have a life after Adepticon is over. I'm gonna have to do some thinking about that. But yes, just to really remind everybody, C3LP will be dead by the time you hear this. So hope you guys didn't like him that much. Anyway, Mike, let's end the podcast while I heat up the slag pit.
Oof.
How do we land the plane?
I don't want him to die.
Too bad.
Yeah. This has been the Notorious Scoundrels, Season 4, Episode 51. I'm Mike.
I'm Evan.
Stay fresh, cheese bag, and stay alive, C3LP.
Literally melt. Bye.